I worked with a billionaire for 2 years and wanted to share with you 4 lessons that I learned from him, including one that kind of got me in trouble with the police, but I'll get back to that. So the world has less than 3,000 billionaires, so getting to personally work with one is extremely rare. Since many people will never get this opportunity in their life, I'm going to tell you my experience and how it can help you achieve more in your life. Here's the deal. I was working for a startup that was funded by a well-known billionaire. After working there for a while, they said, hey, you should really meet with one of our big investors. We could introduce you and maybe he'll have some extra stuff for you. And I think we could, you could really hit it off with him. So I met with this guy at a hockey game, which of course he owned the team, naturally, as you do when you're a billionaire. It was the luxury area with the box suites. It was the bee's knees, right? Full on. He met with me during the game, and in between periods, we just talked about business. We talked about thoughts on how to do marketing, how to do growth hacking, life. And that was, my expertise, really growth hacking and marketing. And he quickly realized that I could help, and he said, hey, let's take a look at some other items in my portfolio and maybe you can help me out with them. Over the next 2 years, I did just that. And here's some of the things that I learned working with this super billionaire guy. One thing that really stuck out to me that I learned the hard way was that honesty and loyalty are his currency. You can imagine that if you're a billionaire or even a multimillionaire, you're surrounded by people who you don't know what their intentions are. Do they want to steal money from you? Do they actually want to help you? Are they legit? Or are they just there because you're a billionaire and a famous person? When all those things are so likely, being loyal and honest are really, really important. I learned this the hard way because one time I was late for a meeting that he had scheduled with a bunch of people, including one of the founders of the biggest crypto coin in the world at that time, probably still is the biggest crypto coin. We were at the meeting and we were going through a potential portfolio and I was late. I was speeding on my way to get there because I was already late. To make things worse, I was pulled over by the cops and I got a speeding ticket and it just took forever. Man, this was the slowest cop in the world. And this incident made me even more late. And I walked in the doors and I said, I'm sorry, I'm late. And I told everyone that I got pulled over by the cops and I was speeding. And the first thing this billionaire had to say was, if you weren't late in the first place, you probably wouldn't have had to be speeding. Yeah. At that point, I just wanted to disappear. I wanted to fade into the background. I felt like a complete asshole, and that moment just stuck in my brain. I should have been like, I'm really sorry, I'm late, I fucked up, instead of having some excuses and having some story about the cops pulling me over. And although the story is completely true, I should have known that honesty and loyalty is what matters to this person. And of course, when you're sitting in front of a whole bunch of really high net, really successful people, showing up on time, showing that respect is extremely important to these people. So that was a big lesson learned, one that I'm not sure I ever fully recovered from. So please remember how valuable and important other people's time is, especially someone with more money and knowledge than you. One late meeting or missed call can ruin an opportunity. So be early. Don't forget about things and always be honest to them. The next thing I learned working with a billionaire is that success requires more than just hard work and tenacity. Of course, both those things play a huge part in it. There's still a huge missing piece, and that is that right time and right place aspect. And sometimes you need to get lucky with your situation. And you can get lucky by being around more and doing more things. Proximity and showing up are key. And that's what this billionaire was doing. After he made his money, he started many different companies and started investing in many different places, restaurants, startups, tech, all over the place. He has constantly been putting his money in different places because no matter who you are, it's hard to know what will be successful. And I think that's an important lesson. It's like you don't know what's going to be successful until you start doing it. You could work extremely hard on a startup or a brand or a business, and it just might not succeed because a competitor takes you out, or the market changes, or something significantly changes in the culture. And you just don't know these things until you start doing it. So really the lesson was, yes, hard work and tenacity and intelligence are extremely important, but guess what? Luck is also extremely important. So you have to account for some of that. You have to think about, how can I get lucky more often? How can I diversify? How can I put things in different places so that we have a chance to get lucky more and more often? Another thing I learned working with this billionaire was just how different they think about the world. By nature of them being able to buy so many things, they see the world in a different way. The world is literally their oyster. So one day I was working with the billionaire's wife on a project that she had going on. It was an app that connected successful people with students for mentorship. We were at probably one of the most expensive hotels in the city, and we were going to have some lunch while we worked on the project together. She was looking at the menu, didn't really like what was on the menu. Nothing really caught her eye. So she called over the waiter, not like that, she was very nice, but she called over the waiter and she said, last summer you had this incredible lobster roll. that was just to die for. And I don't see that on the menu here, but I really love that. Would you guys be able to do that for me? The waiter said without skipping a beat, said, yes, madam, of course. Let me just ask the kitchen if they've got some fresh lobster, and I'll be right back. So we went to the back, and about 2 minutes later, he came back and he said, yes, that's not a problem. We've got all the ingredients, they'll do that up for you, and they know exactly which one you're talking about. The chef is happy to make that for you. Then came time to the wine. She really didn't see the wine that she wanted on the list, so she said, you know what? I've got this other wine up in my hotel room. Could you guys please go get that for me? And the bellhop went up to the room, got her own wine, and then we sat there and had lunch. I don't remember what I ate. I don't remember at all. I didn't have the lobster roll, that's for sure. I had something off the menu and I think I had a Coke Zero or something like that. But I just found it so crazy how easily she asked for things. I would have never. She obviously has money to pay for whatever, but I think the lesson and the key takeaway here is that if you're just asking for things, especially in a respectful way, a lot can happen for you. Whether asking someone to come on a podcast, needing some business advice, needing help on a website, or just wanting a lobster roll, it doesn't hurt to ask. Now, one thing to understand is that these billionaires can ask worry-free because worst case, they have money to exchange for value. You, however, might not have billions to exchange. In that case, you need to be prepared to provide value in other ways, such as labor or knowledge. And the worst thing that can happen is they say no. The last lesson I learned from this billionaire was you're not owed any respect. You have to earn your respect and your place in this world. Many times in many meetings with this billionaire, I was the underdog. I was at all these meetings in all these different places, and it was only through my work and through my brain and through my attitude that I was able to get a seat at the table. Many meetings, I was being ignored. People would be on their phones and I had to make them respect me. And it just goes to show you, you're not owed anything in this life. You have to earn it. And these people that I was dealing with, these high-powered people, they had to earn it too. They had to go through the struggles and the fights to get where they are, and they want to work with others who have done the exact same thing. So they have this attitude that, hey, you know what? If you want a seat at this table, you better bring it. You better show us what you got, because you're not just gonna get our attention. You're not just gonna get our respect. You have to earn it. Those are 4 things that I learned from working with a billionaire. I've got a lot more, so I'll do another video another time. I hope this helps you learn how to work with successful people that are usually wealthier, more experienced, sometimes smarter than you. If you wanna know how to get in touch with more prominent people, watch one of my videos on how to actually get DMs back from these people. And I hope you check it out, and I hope you stick around for the next one. See you guys.